G'day everyone, welcome back to another video on the channel. So today we're going to be going over once again my top 50 AFL players, this time for season 2025. These rankings are mostly based off players' 2025 season performance. An abundance of quality players left, right and centre, a very hard one to construct. Let's now begin with my top 50 AFL players for this 2025 AFL season. 50 𝐼𝐴𝐺𝐝 𝐿𝐴N𝐭𝐞. We start the top 50 with the Crows damaging mid-forward of 𝐼𝐴𝐺𝐝 𝐿𝐴N𝐭𝐞. Although most of the talk regarding his season comes from the slur that cost his ticket to finals football, Rankine started the season like a house on fire, racking up clearances and clean inside possessions in the midfield before transitioning more to his natural forward position for the remainder of the year and producing clutch and quality score-involving moments. 49 Aaron Naughton. Questions arose with his sluggish first half of the season, but turned it around in impressive fashion. Whilst most of the praise was on Sam Darcy, Naughton put his head down and strung together 60 goals for the high-scoring Dogs. A terrific marking skill set and reach in the air, also heavily improving on his set shot conversion. 48 Christian Petrarca. Upon reflection, it's great to see Petrarca have a full season after the dramas that occurred with him last year. Although it was performed in a disappointing side, the crazy high standards he had set prior to 2024 makes this season feel like it was an above-average year for him. However, with him ranked in the top 10 for score involvements and viewing his general high influence in the guts and up forward, Petrarca still pieced together an impactful season for the D's. 47 John Newcombe. A quality season from the Hawks inside midfield ball. Continuing to improve his outside game and scoreboard impact again in 2025, Newcombe's respectable home and away campaign went to the next level come September, manufacturing two unbelievable finals performances against the Giants and the Crows, showing a perfect blend of inside toughness and damaging ball use. Perhaps one to take his game up a notch, as well as consistency next year. 46 Lachie Whitfield. The All-Australian quality defender was consistent again under Adam Kingsley, forming a damaging rebound partnership with Lachie Ash. Whitfield's dash and classy ball use on either foot constantly pose opposition problems. A few weeks stint at half forward to cover an injury didn't diminish much of his impact either. 45 Tom Liberatore. Safe to say nearly all of us forget about this man, even when we list the Star Dogs players. Another campaign with an All-Australian squad inclusion, Libba again was a clearance beast, ranking in the top 10 for total clearances. The 33-year-old was also fantastic in the defensive side of his game, being able to lay crunching tackles in pursuit. 44 Lachie Ash. Arguably one of the more consistent defenders in 2025, Lachie Ash had his best season to date for the Giants. A running and metres gain machine, you constantly saw this man in motion with pill in hand. A key asset alongside Whitfield in generating quick transition from the Giants' back half all year long. 43 Zac Bailey. The first time All-Australian was a beauty to watch for Brisbane in 2025. More midfield time meant more bursting through congestion and more scoreboard impact, booting a staggering 42 goals. Prone to fade in and out of games, when he brought his best footy however, he was pretty much impossible to stop. A key asset for Chris Fagan, especially in big games. Hard to look past his fantastic grand final performance. 9 scoring shots and 23 possessions is something crazy. 42 Jack Sinclair. One of the AFL's premier halfback flankers in Jack Sinclair enjoyed another great season for the Saints. Calm and a great decision maker on almost every occasion, the running defender also displayed influential stints in the midfield, amassing more of his damaging possessions in threatening score-involving areas. 41 Sam Collins. Back-to-back All-Australian calibre seasons for the Suns' key defender. Collins was a brute force in his lockdown role, rarely being beaten one-on-one, and peaking his form at the right time of the season, ranking second for intercept possessions across 2025. 40 Ben King. Although King possesses a low possession game in comparison to the elite key forwards in the AFL, it's quite simple. He does his job very well, which is, surprise surprise, kick goals. King finished third in the Coleman with 71 snags. Also, he heavily improved his presence in the air and accuracy for goal, key issues he had before this season. 39 George Hewett. A solid, consistent and respectable season from the Blues midfielder. After injuries and flare-ups galore the past few seasons, Hewett was not only a stoppage beast and quality accumulator, but you could tell that he was moving around the park the most freely that he's looked in years. A top 10 clearance player in the league and a career best year. 38 Lachie Neale. From an individual point of view, it might not have been a season established to the loftiest of heights, as the gun mid took more of a back step to allow the other star Brisbane midfielders to shine. Nevertheless, the multiple Brownlow medalist still bared important influence on the side, displaying his elite clean skill and tight and piling up clearances once again. A feel-good story with him as a sub in the grand final, changing the game towards the Lions' favour through his presence. 37, Jamie Elliott. A career best season for the veteran Collingwood forward. Booting 60 goals for the year, the most out of any non-key forward. Elliott impacted in many ways, from spectacular marks, crumbing goals, threatening as a one-on-one deep forward, and even playing like a tall forward, leading out and marking with aggression. 36, Connor Rozee. Although a player in a disappointing side, the Power Captain's season is still definitely one to acknowledge. Moving to his natural halfback position, Rozee was very consistent. Smart reading of the play, ball use, and classy rebound were strong assets to his game all year under Ken Hinkley, pushing into the top 20 for the coaches' votes. 35, Josh Worrell. An outstanding breakout season from this promising tall defender. Assisted with an injury-free campaign, Worrell provided influence in spades for Matty Nix's back six, with his impressive courage back with a flight in the air and high footy IQ to position himself well to intercept and go with the raking left shoe. Perhaps a maiden All-Australian is not far away. 34, Callum Wilkie. Look up the word reliable in the dictionary and you'd find this man. Calm with ball in hand, the All-Australian calibre keyback was once again a shining light for the Saints, rarely losing aerial contests and a clean intercept mark of the football. 33, Sam Darcy. If we are ranking purely off overall ability, it's hard to exclude a player like Sam Darcy outside the top 10. Considering the knee injury he had, the Dogs' tall forward still manufactured a highly impactful breakout season with 48 goals in 17 games. Unbeatable in the air at times, he also showcased his athleticism at ground level and turned it into impressive goals. If he is fully fit next season, look out for the rest of the competition. 32, Dane Zorko. The 36-year-old produced another influential season under Chris Fagan, especially since his move to defence 18 months ago. In my eyes, an unlucky omission to miss out on the All-Australian, purely for the fact his kicking out of the defensive 50 was outstanding. Quick and snappy with his decision-making, Zorko was an important piece of Brisbane's fast and clean ball movement, dropping beautiful kicks to teammates into space or lace out in between three or more defenders at times. 31, Josh Dunkley. Perhaps one of the most underrated midfielders in the competition, it certainly wouldn't mind Dunkley. Being a key piece again of a premiership quality midfield, racking up tackles to force stoppages, pushing to space as a reliable overhead outlet down the line, clean hands on the inside to set up his runners. Dunkley was again this season an elite two-way midfielder to admire. 30, Sam Taylor. The number one ranked player in the comp for intercept possessions and marks, Taylor was tough as nails in the air and one-on-one. It was unfortunately another semi-injury interrupted season for the Giants keyback, but produced enough to collect another All-Australian blazer. 29, Bailey Dale. If you want to watch something satisfying to relax after a long day's work, I suggest flicking on some Bailey Dale highlights. Zippy and fleet-footed in open space, the Dogs' All-Australian halfback was a beauty to watch with his ball use, especially on the run. Had his quiet games, but when he was on, more often than not, Dale pierced opposition defences all around the ground, becoming a big headache for coaches, copping multiple tags. 28, Tom Green. Another quality season from the Giants' inside midfield bull, accumulating clearances and possessions left, right and centre. Top 15 in the coaches' votes, Green always provided a nuisance for opposition midfielders, with his high strength to set up in the coalface and ability to extract it out cleanly. Also wasn't afraid to burst his way through and hit the scoreboard. 27, Jack Gunston. In what was one of the stories of the season, Jack Gunston went from being delisted and redrafted this season to winding back the clock and booting over 70 snags in the space of a year. The 33-year-old was a huge presence in the Hawks forward half, seeming to get better as the season spanned on, possessing his footy smarts and reliable goal kicking to a T. 26, Will Ashcroft. The two-time Norm Smith medalist continued to establish himself as a star midfielder with untapped potential. Alert temperament, crafty, highly skilled, and a clearance machine in traffic, the 𝐼𝐴𝐺 medalist also improved his game outside of stoppage, bursting his way through and hitting the scoreboard on multiple occasions. 25, Tristan Xerri. Missed out on a few games with suspension and played through some niggles early in the year, but past that, Xerri crafted together another high-production season as one of the competition's premier ruckmen. Aggressive in the contests and in the air, Sherry didn't have many problems grubbing it out of the ruck to rack up clearances or give his on-ballers quality first use. 24. Luke Jackson. Hard to argue that Jackson was the best player in his position this year as a ruck forward. Whilst putting up elite solo ruck numbers when Sean Darcy was absent, his impact increased when he returned. Transitioning into a hybrid on-baller, Dogger was influential for the Dockers in many ways, winning the ball at the source on the inside and using it well, displaying elite follow-up work, and of course, threatened as an aerial match-winning beast up forward. 23. Brodie Grundy. The Swans workhorse enjoyed a terrific second season up in the Northern State. Though there was no team success, his individual success was almost freakish throughout the middle part of the year, dominating his ruck matchups with quality and high hitouts, but also impacting as that extra midfielder heavily, racking up tough contested possessions. 22. Jordan Clark. An ultra-consistent year for one of the AFL's best two-way defenders. Clark possessed fantastic defensive ability in the air or closing speed to kill a contest, but also rebound with smart use and take the game on with his high pace. A very deserving All-Australian selection after narrowly missing out last season. 21. 𝐓𝐡𝐞 𝐎𝐥𝐝 𝐿𝐴 was this man quality to watch this season. Even though he contributed in a disappointing side, averaging a tick under 20 disposals and over 2 goals a game put him in a rare statistic category. Starting in centre bounces, Pickett not only impacted from clearances, but shone forward of centre, shaking off tackles and impacting the scoreboard from no matter how hard the scenario. 20. Andrew Brayshaw. Another quality season from the star two-way Freo midfielder. Arguably one of the best players in the first half of the year, Brayshaw heavily improved his disposal, damaging with quality use inside 50 and for goal. Relentless in defence and chasing down opponents on a regular basis, an area which he continued to take big pride in his game. 19. Finn Callaghan. Ever since his blistering opening round performance, it was hard to see him not produce a quality campaign for the Giants, which he did. The number one handball received player in the comp by a mile tells you already a lot about him. Boasting elite running power, Callaghan week in week out was everywhere around the ground, collecting the ball from defence to kickstart the attack or streaming through congestion and impacting forward of centre. His ability earned him a top 15 finish in the coaches' votes, highlighting how big of a headache he was, especially for opposition coaches. 18. Touk Miller. A revitalised Touk Miller was a key facet in Damien Hardwick's side. With his high work rate and accumulation, he impacted tremendously well in a new midfielder forward role, pushing into stoppages and also providing a reliable option on the outer to deliver quality entries, ranking elite in score involvements. 17. 𝐼𝐗𝐿𝐴 𝐼𝐚𝐭𝐞𝐬. One of the competition's brightest young stars, boosted his stock into the elite tier of footballers, putting together a wonderful season for the Saints. His move into the midfield was key, displaying his athletic feats and silky smooth skills, bursting his way out of stoppage and hitting targets on the run, making it look easy. The sky is the limit for his potential next season. 16. Isaac Heaney. Hard to match his unbelievable 2024 season, but still enjoyed a highly productive and impactful season with his third All-Australian. Being able to impact in the guts and threaten in the air forward, Heaney joined rare company on being one of the few players since 2015 to amass over 35 goals and 500 disposals in a season. 15. Zach Butters. Missed a chunk of the early season, but came back into the Port Adelaide side with his usual quality best. Creative by foot and hard as a cat's head attacking the pill, Butters also notched up another club best and fairest, alongside an All-Australian squad selection to cap off another productive individual season. 14. Riley Thilthorpe. Thilthorpe took his game to the next level for the Crows, establishing himself as an elite key forward who could do it all. Athletic in the air and up the ground, great follow-up work in the ruck, and of course his vice-like grip marking inside 50 and reliable set-shot goal kicking, booting 60 goals for the season and earning his first of potentially many All-Australians. 13. Caleb Serong. Dealt with more tagging challenges in 2025, but when the gun Freo mid is on, he's leading his side to wins more often than not. A top 3 clearance beast once again this season, with a terrific knack on winning hard inside ball and extracting it to teammates effectively or for territory. 12. Harris Andrews. Football justice finally plays its part, rewarding the star key line with a third All-Australian blazer after some unfortunate omissions the past few seasons. A warrior in defence, Andrews played a significant part in Brisbane's premiership tilt, showing outstanding presence in the air and one-on-one. High up there again for intercept possessions and marks. 11. Max Gawn. How about it, eh? One of the best ruckmen this century, rarely showed glimpses of his age in 2025. Putting together another top season as the competition's best ruckman with elite tap work and game-changing pack marking behind the footy, down the line or inside 50. 8 All-Australians, if you don't mind. 10 𝐓𝐿 𝐎𝐥𝐝. We start this top 10 with 𝐓𝐿 𝐎𝐿𝐴, a career best season for the silky smooth midfielder. His cleanliness in traffic and damage with ball in hand became a more impactful and consistent part of his game, reaching to the elite heights in 2025. 9 Jordan Dawson. Although we witnessed an underwhelming final series from not only the Crows skipper but the side itself, Dawson's impact and leadership was still pivotal to Adelaide's big rise. An aerial threat around the ground, whilst his foot skills got back to his best after an injury-riddled 2024. 8 Jeremy Cameron. The Cats sharpshooter snapped, check-sided and drop-punted his way to over 85 goals in a modern-day football season, an achievement to admire. Being able to impact up the ground and find teammates with pinpoint field kicking, Jezza didn't have much worries down the other end. Clinical set shots and freakish snaps from something out of nothing situations. 7 Marcus Bontempelli. A simple non-negotiable. He might have missed the first 6 odd games of the season, but it didn't diminish his class whatsoever. Tough in the contest, majestic on the run, and impactful with almost every disposal, the Dogs captain strung together another top-tier season of footy. 6 Ed Richards. An underrated and respected footballer turned into an elite beast in 2025 for the Bulldogs. Highly rated from champion data, it wasn't necessarily the stat sheet you had to look to know how impactful he was. Smooth and classy in the coalface, but most importantly, damaging when getting it out of stoppage with ball in hand. Hitting up teammates with wonderful deliveries on either foot or hand became the norm for the star midfielder. 5 Max Holmes. When writing this, I had the phrase All-Australian in the first sentence, then remembering that the star cat was a glaring omission. Although baffling, his presence alongside Bailey Smith became a formidable 1-2 midfield punch. Holmes' terrific work rate and damage on the outside was a critical factor to the Cats' success and quality ball movement, always providing an option through the guts, running to goal, or rebounding from defence. 4 Bailey Smith. A star recruit and player in 2025. Known for his high work ethic, it was apparent, building together a fantastic season coming off an ACL injury. Whilst his disposal was hit and miss, his running power, accumulation, toughness, and alert temperament superbly complemented the Cats system. 3 Nick Daicos. Not much surprise here for the Collingwood superstar. Statistics might not suggest it was a career best year, but with the quality he possesses, you can say that Daicos is getting more impactful with age. Poised in traffic, Nick consistently got the ball from inside to out to launch the Pies attack with pinpoint disposal and dash, whilst always providing an option in transition. Elite work rate, awareness and class, it's hard to disagree a top 3 position for the Pies midfielder. 2 Matt Rowell. The midfield bull has always shown glimpses of his elite ability, but this year Rowell finally brought it all together and enjoyed a wonderful All-Australian and Brownlow medalist season. Rowell displayed high athleticism on having the ability to burst out of congestion at a higher rate, stand up in tackles, and offload clean contested possessions, and more underratedly, significantly improve his outside game, hitting the scoreboard and teammates inside 50 without much fuss. 1 Noah Anderson. What a way to spend your first season as club captain with a maiden All-Australian and finals win. Anderson elevated himself into the very elite tier of footballers in 2025, arguably the competition's best balanced midfielder who could do it all, chase down and lay goal-saving tackles, extract the ball at a high rate in stoppages to rack up clearances, and most notably, impacting his side with inspiring team-lifting moments and goals on the run. In my eyes, the best player of the 2025 AFL season. So, ladies and gentlemen, there is my top 50 AFL players of this 2025 AFL season, and gee, is the list hard each and every single year. Of course, this video is up for some debate, so let me know what your top 50 is. Would you have some changes? There is, of course, some glaring omissions. When you do your top 50, it does add up quick. You're like, oh crap, I've forgotten this player. I want to put in this player in, and then all of a sudden you're already at 45. You're like, oh geez, who else do I put in? So yeah, this was really tough to do. Let me know your thoughts down below. Always love to hear your people's opinions. That's it from me, lads. Take care, and until next time, I'll talk to you later. See you later, fellas.